Hi, I'm Adam Lewis with DeerIQ.com and the DeerIQ podcast. In this video, we're going to look at shed hunting and a big word of caution when doing it. What is shed hunting good for and what isn't it good for? We'll find out in this video. Okay, I'm going to look at three things that I think shed hunting does help with, and one thing that I think shed hunting does not help with. There would be a word of caution to really think about and try to avoid. And so let's look at the things that it is good for first. Okay, the first thing that is good for is general scouting. And when you get out in the woods in the spring, this is a great time to see sign from last year. You're looking for rubs from last year, scrapes from last year, and the best thing that I think you can find is a perennial scrape area, which is something bucks use year after year after year. And there's also rub varieties of these too. If you can find those in this historic data, you can definitely use this to your advantage come next year in the fall. So the foliage is down. It's a real good time of year to just gather this historic data, how deer generally use the landscape. And even if the buck you're seeing sign from is dead, like somebody shot it, that made the rubs, that was making some of these scrapes, that historic data is generally how deer use the land year after year after year. So this becomes good for you and helps with intel for next fall. And what I have here is a fairly open staging area. Out there are some fields, crop fields, and the thick cover funnels deer right down in through here. There's thick cover on both sides, funnels them right back into here, and this is a thick bedding area. And I have a spot I can hunt in that tree, depending on wind. I have a stand right up there, and this is a good morning spot because they're going to be coming back this way, and it naturally funnels them right to this point. Obviously, you want to accompany that with data at the time, fresh sign at the time, but this historic data really does help you be one step closer to deer and how they're going to behave next fall. Okay, the second thing is specific scouting intel, and this would be specific to a buck. So let's say you actually do find sheds from a specific deer. This is intel that you can add to what I call a buck profile, and it's a piece of the puzzle that helps you get one step closer to potentially shooting this buck. So that's really good intel to have. Where he's frequenting, where he's bedding, right? But you can also look at antlers and maybe find out a little bit more about his age or even some of his habits. What does he like to rub on? Can you then tie this to certain trees in the area to start, again, getting more intel and little clues that might help you catch up to him in the fall? Okay, the third thing is just general fun and exercise. You're getting out in the woods. It's that time of year, maybe you're stir crazy and been kind of cooped up. So that's never a bad thing. But also, just to kind of tie it back to the others, again, you're maybe exploring new ground, right? So in addition to getting exercise and scouting and gathering some of this intel, you're maybe exploring new ground, and that could potentially be a spot you can hunt come fall. And it helps you start making decisions about next fall, even now in the spring. And so that can be really beneficial, and you might stumble across your next hot spot. Okay, like this episode so far? If you do, I invite you to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our other great deer hunting videos. Also, check out our podcast that is on this channel. We have a free journal that goes with this podcast as we dig into what it takes to be a greater deer hunter. So check that out as well. And do you know your deer IQ? Do you think you're deer smart? Well, take our deer IQ test and find out. It's fun and easy, and it's linked below. And while you're at it, share it with a buddy and see who really has a higher deer IQ. Okay, so those are three good things. Those are three good reasons to shed hunt in the spring. The one word of caution, and this is how it does not help you, and a lot of hunters get off, I think, in this, is that it does not tell you where he will be in the fall. Yes, you can maybe gather some pieces of the puzzle to help you, But where you find his sheds is where he dropped them in the winter, maybe February or March, depending. That might not necessarily be where he spends his fall time, right? When you can actually hunt him. And so it's important to understand that. Bucks home in different areas. They have different home locations, depending on food, depending on severity of the winter. A lot of things can change their patterns and where they call home. And there are also different types of bucks. There's a recent MSU study that talks about sedentary bucks versus mobile bucks. Mobile bucks are on the move and they have several home areas throughout a year. And this explains why some bucks disappear and then show up. But if you assume where you found his sheds is where you're going to hunt him the next year, that's a big assumption, and that's where people can really get off. You can use it as a piece of the puzzle, but you really want to make sure the better intel to have is intel right before the season, because all the sheds are telling you are where he was in the late winter and that he's still alive at that time. But you need intel right before season of where he is and that he's still alive. And so this can be a piece of the puzzle, but don't get overly focused on this location of his sheds to help you with the next year. It's just a piece of the puzzle, but you want better intel closer to season to help you seal the deal. Okay, so those are 3 things that shed hunting does help with, and 1 to really be cautious about so you don't get off track for next fall. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Deer IQ High IQ Topics video.